Jeffrey Rupp now makes an appearance in court. I got the details ahead live from the Dane County Courthouse.
And after a somewhat rainy-ish Monday, we are drying out for Tuesday, but some rain and possibly some severe weather arrives on Wednesday. Details in the full forecast.
And later, it's been 17 years since the draining of Lake Delton. We hear from one of the people who lost their house in that disaster. And we welcome you now to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening and thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson.
And I'm Susan Simon. Eric Franke is off tonight. We begin at 6 with breaking news. Duluth Trading Company in Mount Horeb is confirming it has laid off some of its workforce.
According to the company, 18% of the workforce has been let go from all parts of the business. That includes remote employees in the distribution centers across the U.S. and the office here in Mount Horeb. The company says the decision was made to, quote, reduce expenses and drive efficiencies further, end quote. Well, Jeffrey Rupp, the father of the shooter at Abundant Life Christian School, was back in court today.
Our Kyle Pozorski was one of just a few reporters present for today's status conference, and he joins us live from the Dane County Courthouse with the latest. Kyle?
Well, good evening. It was a very quick in and out type of day. One of those where you blink and almost miss it. Really just a procedural step to go over any changes that Ruppno had to his address and to set a date for a now scheduled preliminary hearing. We know now that that hearing will be taking place more than a month from now on July 24th. Rupp did make an appearance today, staying very quiet during the course of it. Now, of course, many who are following this case know Rupp is the father of the young girl who brought a gun to the Abundant Life Christian School back in December. I did try to ask him if he had anything to say as he left, and here's that interaction. Mr. Rupp, do you have anything to say? Again, staying very quiet and really barely making a move towards back me. Mr. Rupp has been charged with 3 felony counts, and 2 of those are for intent to sell a deadly weapon to a minor. The 3rd is for contributing towards his daughter's delinquency. Again, he is now set to have a preliminary hearing this July. We got all those details and more over on channel2000.com. Reporting here live from the Dane County Courthouse, I'm Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. In other news, a man is in jail after threatening to murder a member of the Iowa County Sheriff's Office. Around 4 p.m. yesterday, law enforcement responded to a disturbance in Mineral Point. During an investigation, the suspect ran from authorities. Now, despite a taser deployment, the man evaded police and hid in a women's restroom on High Street. He refused to leave for a time, but eventually surrendered. He is now facing 2 felony charges and 2 misdemeanors and will remain in the Iowa County Jail awaiting a bond hearing.
A woman is recovering tonight after driving into a retention pond off the Beltline this weekend. The Madison Fire Department tells News 3 Now about 10:45 Sunday morning, a white car drove into the pond at the U.S. Highway 12 westbound off-ramp at South Park Street. The driver had a medical event, left the road, hit another car, and ended up in the pond. Madison police say a bystander and crews entered the water to rescue the only person who was in the car who could not swim. The woman's injuries are minor, and first responders took her to the hospital.
Madison police and fire are investigating a fire they believe someone intentionally set over the weekend. Crews responded to Dryden Drive on Saturday just after 9 p.m. They were able to put the fire out and found multiple points of ignition outside of a large area. Well, the Canadian wildfire smoke will be back tomorrow, unfortunately. We have Blaze Keller with your certified most accurate forecast, and an odd day today with all the rain and then sun and back and forth.
Yeah, it got cloudy over the last half hour as a little shower kind of scoots its way out of Iowa County into more of Dane County. So let's take a look at Radar 3000. We'll take it to all the kind of hit or miss showers across our coverage area. Up near Watoma in Green Lake, and Marquette counties. We've got a little light to moderate rain shower moving through Berlin as well, mainly staying across northern parts of those counties. Into the Mount Horeb area along 151. Out of Cross Plains, we do find some showers that will continue to move their way eastward through downtown Madison and along the Beltline. So hopefully I can come back inside before it starts to rain here outside the studio. And we have a nice little shower up there near Mauston, right over Linden Station between us and the Dells. So this is what we were expecting, some hit or miss showers throughout the day, some peaks of sunshine as we went into the afternoon, and now we're getting ready for potentially some severe weather on Wednesday. We have an isolated risk, so a marginal risk for severe weather on Wednesday. In the full forecast, we'll go over the timing, what the threats are, and of course talk about that smoke that will return on Tuesday. That's coming up in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. The Department of Workforce Development will distribute $10 million across the state to bolster the workforce. 10 regional workforce development organizations will receive the grants, including nearly $700,000 here in Southwest Wisconsin. The grants come from the Worker Advancement Initiative. It was launched in 2021 with federal relief funds. The governor's office says the latest round of funding will help more than 1,400 Wisconsinites find or improve their employment.
United Natural Foods Incorporated, one of the nation's largest publicly traded health food wholesalers, has taken some of its system offline after a massive cyber attack. The company, which is the primary food distributor for Whole Foods, said it became aware of an incident in its information technology systems on June 5th. On social media, some Whole Foods customers reported seeing empty shelves. The Amazon-owned company did not immediately respond to comment about how it's being affected.
Well, it happened nearly 20 years ago, but the day homes, businesses, and a whole lake were swept away still lives fresh in the minds of everyone in Wisconsin Dells and everyone who covered it that day.
Certainly.
We'll never forget it.
I know. And Armand Rahman spoke to businesses and residents remembering the flooding and draining of Lake Delton.
It may be hard to believe, but 17 years ago on this day, all of the water in Lake Delton had vanished, leaving behind sand, debris, and a really rough year for homeowners and businesses in Wisconsin Dells. The staff at Caribbean Club Resort can't seem to get away from that fateful year.
We have a lot of people coming back and asking about it or talking about the times that they were here during that time period.
Heavy rain had caused Lake Delton to flood and a dam to break. Lake water left the banks, washing out Highway A, carrying homes and summer businesses down the Wisconsin River. Those that weren't swept away were still left with a summer and a year without key business.
It slowed down quite a bit. Again, travelers did come and kind of take their metal detectors and look for things at the bottom of the lake, but it did definitely slowed down and impacted the revenue for the owners here. We're kind of hopeful that it doesn't happen again or anything like that.
The flood destroyed 5 homes. The lake was refilled and restocked a year later, which, along with cleanup and the rebuilding of County Highway A and the dam, cost just under $10 million, some of which was covered by the federal government. But still, there are some who look back and remember that once-in-a-lifetime year fondly. I'll have more from them tonight at 10. For now, reporting from Lake Delton, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
We'll see you tonight at 10, Armand. Thank you. This is your reminder to vote in Madison Magazine's Best of Madison competition. Voting is open now through the end of the month. Unlike the first round of voting, you will only be able to vote once per category. You don't have to live in Madison, though, to participate. Voting is open to anyone in Dane County and cities in nearby counties like Columbia, Dodge, and Rock. You can vote now at the link on your screen. And still to come tonight at 6, why several nasal swabs are now being recalled.
Plus, high temperatures are driving up energy costs as people try to stay cool. We'll tell you how you can lower your utility bills when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
A company known for producing personal care and household items is recalling 3 of its products. Church & Dwight announced it's voluntarily recalling its Zicam Cold Remedy nasal swabs, its Zicam nasal all clear swabs, and also its Oragel baby teething swabs, because the swabs may be contaminated with a fungus. If used, people could suffer a serious or life-threatening blood infection. The company is recommending recommending anyone with the nasal or teething swabs either throw them out or go to the store where you bought them and get a refund.
Well, it is going to cost you more to cool your home this summer. This year, the average electric bill between June and September is projected to reach $784. This is according to the National Energy Assistance Directors Association, and that is more than 4% higher than last year, adjusted for inflation. So depending on where you live, those costs could be higher or lower, of course. However, there are always things you can do to cut them. Raising the temperature on that thermostat by even 2 degrees when you're not home can make a big difference.
You can set it up a few degrees and you'll save, 5 to 10% on your cooling. One of the best things you can do is insulate your home, insulate and air seal.
Making certain upgrades to your home to stay cooler can qualify you for certain federal tax credits as well. Buying a high-efficiency heat pump system can get you a $2,000 federal tax credit. There are also tax credits for upgrading your windows, which will keep the hot air out. And still ahead at 6, how you could help a veteran get a brand new roof for free.
Also, summer vacation begins tomorrow for many schools, which means summer jobs. What one expert says you can do to help your child decide what's best for them.
And will we see any more rain later this week? Blaze has the complete forecast next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, summer break is already here for parts of the country and this area, and some parents may be asking, should my teenager get a job over break? Well, it turns out there's no one-size-fits-all answer to that. The editor-in-chief of Parents says that the benefits can be obvious. Young people learn life skills, financial literacy, and get a confidence boost. But there are other factors to consider, like potential fatigue after the end of the school year, having different opportunities, and weighing a child's readiness to have a responsibility.
But really, you want to instill these values in them by letting them figure it out. You can help them get organized, you can brainstorm, but let them figure out what they'd like to do, how they like to do it, if a job's right for them or not.
And parents can help by using their own network to find open jobs, practice mock interviews with their kids. And according to Pew Research, more than a third of 16 to 19-year-olds get a summer job.
Nominations are open now for the 6th annual Roofing a Vet campaign, a community-driven initiative that gives a deserving veteran a brand new roof for free. It's open to all area veterans and active duty service members who are homeowners or who are financing a home. Family members, neighbors, friends, or veterans themselves can submit nominations. To be eligible, nominees must currently serve or have served in the U.S. military and must own or hold a mortgage on their home. People who are interested must submit nominations by calling the number on your screen, or that's the Hines Contracting website. That's Hines Contracting, the number to them. We also have a link where you can submit a nomination on channel3000.com, and you have until the 31st to do that. Well, the skies are getting a little dark here on the west side of Madison. Looks like some rain is heading our way. It's been kind of an all-over-the-place day today, Blaze.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like we're nearing the middle of June as temperatures sit in the low 60s in Madison. It's 57 in Winnipeg, but it's 75 there in Edmonton, there in parts of Canada. High pressure continues to sit off the west coast, and that's the reason why all that warm Pacific air is here and not over us. Instead, a low pressure system that brought us some of those rain showers today is pulling down cooler air out of the Hudson Bay and out of northern Canada. So that's the reason why we are cooler today. But the good news is that low moves east, and so does those warmer temperatures. So we are going to be warming up as we go into Tuesday, but it's going to be sunny and hazy because those northwesterly winds, they're going to continue to bring down more of that smoke as we head into Tuesday. And then we jump ahead to really Wednesday through Saturday, when we could be dealing with a couple days of showers and thunderstorms. So there is that thick bit of smoke off to our west. That's going to continue to move its way eastward as we go overnight. The thickest of the smoke is likely going to be overhead as we go from the mid-morning hours to at least the early afternoon. Air quality tomorrow expected to be on the moderate side, but there's going to be a break in that smoke as we go overnight into Wednesday. but then we get ready for potentially some severe weather. So air quality tomorrow, right now it's at moderate. We may see some unhealthy for some pockets within central and southern Wisconsin because of that thicker smoke, again, mainly through the morning hours, but we do get a break as we go Tuesday into Wednesday. After we climb into those mid to upper 70s, pretty seasonal for this time of year, with potentially partly sunny conditions further north and east. They'll hang out in the low 70s. We have a marginal risk for severe weather on Wednesday. So what does that mean in terms of, how many storms could we see that could be severe? We're looking at an isolated chance, not scattered, not numerous, not widespread, or even an outbreak. So these would be hit or miss severe thunderstorms. Not everybody would see them, and they're generally short-lived. And the timing for these storms potentially on Wednesday is going to be in the late afternoon, early evening. Strong winds as well as some large hail could be possible as storms will develop along a stationary front, likely into developing in Minnesota and Iowa, and then they'll move their way into parts of Wisconsin. That stationary front eventually becomes a warm front. Southerly winds take on over and help pull in our next weather system as we go Thursday into Friday, and we'll continue to be dealing with some of those showers and thunderstorms through at least the start of the weekend, which is actually some good news, because if you look at the data, we have it in our latest Beyond the Barometer. A lot of northern Wisconsin missed out on quite a lot of rain throughout the month of May. We still have abnormally dry conditions, abnormally dry and moderate drought conditions here across southern Wisconsin. There's a look at your 7 and 10 day forecast. We got a couple 80s up there. They're few and far between, but we'll be hanging out pretty much in the 70s over the next 7 to 10 days when it does look to dry out for Father's Day by Sunday.
That's good timing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like softball weather, but it is.
Yeah, it is, or at least it should be, which is good news because still to come in sports, Madison's softball team is getting ready for their second season. Why they hope they'll be a nightmare for the Northwoods League. Next on News 3 Now. After a rocky relationship, closure can be a good thing. And Packers fans got closure today when Green Bay released All-Pro cornerback Jair Alexander. The end of Ja's 7-year tenure with the Packers was plagued by injury and drama. He only suited up for half of the Packers' 68 regular season games over the last 4 seasons. The Pack tried to work to restructure his contract and even to trade him, but instead today decided to part ways. And all eyes will be on Week 8 this season in the NFL when the Packers head to Pittsburgh to play Aaron Rodgers' new team, the Steelers. In an exclusive interview with News 3 Now, Jordan Love says he cannot wait for that opportunity.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to be on different sides, meeting up, and I know we'll talk pregame, things like that, and hopefully we can exchange jerseys after.
On Thursday, the Madison Nightmares will kick off their second season of softball at the Duck Pond. Year 1 was a dream come true for Verona native Hillary Blomberg and the rest of the roster that Madison's new head coach Lexi Godwin brought in around Blomberg includes players from the nation's biggest powerhouse programs, a formula that Oklahoma coach Lexi Godwin hopes will be a nightmare for the Northwoods League.
When the season ended last year, I actually was crying because I couldn't believe how many people were cheering for us. So being able to come back and play for this community of Madison, which I love, being a Badger and everything, and coming to play for the Nightmares is probably the most exciting part that made softball so fun.
I expect us to do big things. Obviously, where I come from, I know championship mindset. I've seen what it's like and what it takes to put a winning product on the field, and I expect to do the same thing here.
For the first time since 2017, Wisconsin women's basketball will take on an in-state rival in Marquette. The two will renew the I-94 rivalry with a home-and-home series starting in Milwaukee on Saturday, November 8th. And then in 2026, they'll meet at the Kohl Center. The Badgers lead the all-time series against the Golden Eagles 13-10.
Oh, that's a big one. All right, thanks, Andrew. Well, coming up on News 3 Now at 10, how the layoffs at Duluth Trading Company could impact community members in Janesville and Mount Horeb, and how employees are reacting to the news.
Final check on the weather.
Quiet tonight, mostly clear to partly cloudy, a little bit of haze, and that haze sticks around into Tuesday, but we're back into the 70s and then further into the 80s on Wednesday, and then the rain returns.
All right, thanks so much for watching News 3 Now at 6. Coming up next is Entertainment Tonight.
Have a good night, everybody. Hope to see you back here tonight at 10.